In today's video, I'm sharing with you 5 reasons why you should consolidate all of your old investment accounts and just simplify your life. Now, recently I onboarded a new client. It was a couple. They had accounts spread out, lots of accounts, 6 different financial institutions. This couple is approaching retirement, and it was getting a little bit too complicated to keep track of their accounts, and they just wanted to simplify and have a cohesive strategy across everything that they had. And they knew too that when they made that transition into retirement in the next few years, that they didn't want to worry about keeping track of all these different accounts spread out at different places. And so that's one of the reasons why they decided to come and, for the first time in their life, hire a financial advisor. A lot of people procrastinate on consolidating their accounts. And I think that there's this misconception that it's going to be complicated, it's going to take a long time, it's not going to be worth the effort, but the opposite is actually true. It's actually really, really simple. And the financial institution that you consolidate your accounts with, they want your money. So they want to make it as easy as possible for you to bring everything into one house, so to speak. So a lot of times it's as simple as signing a form or making a phone call in order to transfer and consolidate an account. And then the 2 back offices of the companies that you're working with, so the one where the money is leaving and the one where it's going to, they talk to each other. Like, you don't even have to make an uncomfortable phone call to your existing advisor or advisors where you have these accounts spread out, if that's the case for you. And in the case of a 401k account, which is probably the worst offender I see of people leaving old accounts behind, in most cases, it takes just one phone call to initiate that process, get the ball rolling, and it'll probably take you like 15 to 20 minutes. That's if you're on hold. All right, so let's get into the 5 reasons why you're gonna wanna consolidate those accounts. The first one is that it makes your tax reporting every year a lot simpler. So if you're waiting for 1099s or 1099Rs, from a bunch of different financial institutions, it gets really easy to forget, like, oh, I forgot, I never got that 1099, and then you file your taxes, and then the 1099 arrives a week later, and you have to refile your taxes or figure out how to rectify that. It's just a big headache. So simplify your taxes every year. It can save you a lot of time, headaches, and potential mistakes as well. All right, so the second reason, and to me this is the most important reason, hands down, why you would want to consolidate and simplify your accounts, is that you can better track your performance and your account balances consolidated, how those are growing over time, how you're making progress towards your goals as a result. Now, if you're like most people, you probably don't log into your 401k account online that often. I know this to be true. I actually see the data on the back end because I manage a lot of 401k accounts, and I can see they're generally not logging in very often. They're not tracking it very often. And so when you have these accounts that are spread out in different places, how do you make progress, or how do you know how well you're making progress towards your goals if you're not able to see what your total account balance is? But I want you to picture this for a second. You log in to one online portal, and in that one portal you can see all of your accounts, you can see the entire account balance, and importantly, you can see the performance. So are you up 5% or 10%, or are you down 15%? And unless you're like a mathematician, it's actually really hard. In fact, it's nearly impossible to try to track your performance when you have all of these accounts spread out in different places. It gets complicated really, really quickly. But when you have everything in one spot, the technology that's available can track your performance for you. You don't have to do any of that. And so as a result, you can see how you're making progress, good or bad, hopefully good, towards those goals. All right, so if you're finding this video helpful so far, please hit that like button and give it a thumbs up. Reason number 3 why you're going to want to simplify your life and consolidate your investment accounts is that because it's a lot easier to implement a cohesive strategy So right now, if I asked you how much of your portfolio is in big tech, how much is in international, how much do you even just have in stocks versus bonds? If you can't tell me that, then it's going to be very hard to be able to implement a cohesive strategy. If you have a hard time answering some of these questions, then you don't really have a cohesive strategy. And it's really hard to have a cohesive strategy when your accounts are spread out all over the place because you don't have visibility on those accounts. This is really often overlooked, I think. But the other reason why you would want to consolidate your accounts for a cohesive strategy is for your own sake, but especially if you are working with a financial advisor. I can give my clients much better advice if I know exactly what they own and in what accounts. A lot of people fall for this lie of diversification that, oh, in order to be diversified, I also need to diversify across financial advisors. But give your advisor the best chance to give you the best advice possible. They can do that if they know what you own. I think I'm going to get some negative comments or maybe some thumbs down for saying that because, yes, there are always the Bernie Madoffs of the world, but as long as you are working with a reputable advisor, with a reputable financial institution, your assets, as long as they're protected by SIPC, you have protections against fraud and the Bernie Madoffs of the world. All right, so the fourth reason why you're going to want to consolidate to simplify your life is to just remove the mental clutter. Now, I'm a bit of a type A person, and on the big 4 personality traits, I'm like completely off the charts of conscientiousness. And conscientious person is someone who you want to do everything well, you have this duty mindset, and you do things very thoroughly. I've always been that way. You know, when I would get home from school, I actually couldn't start my homework until I had this like clean room, until my bed was made, until all my clothes and toys and everything was picked up. Then I could start my homework. But I couldn't relax and mentally focus until I got rid of the clutter in my room. Well, the same is true, not just with physical clutter in your house or in your living spaces, but also your mental clutter. It's exhausting to keep track of accounts that are at all different places. You may have 6 401ks that from 6 previous jobs that you haven't taken the time to consolidate, and trying to remember all of those accounts, it takes up a lot of mental stress, particularly if there's a meaningful amount of assets there. Now, here's an interesting thing that happens. Again, because I work with 401k plans, I know how this goes. So you changed jobs 6 jobs ago. You maybe move, and then you move again, and at some point, they can't track you down anymore. It happens all the time. And there's a lot of missing assets out there. If you just go to like Google any sort of unclaimed assets, they sort these out through states, and you can see like, wow, there's a lot of people that have forgot about inheritances, old 401k accounts, insurance policies. It happens all the time. And so you need to be able to get rid of that mental clutter and stop putting this undue stress on yourself because you're trying to keep track of all of these various accounts that you have. Like, it's just not worth it. All right, so the 5th and final reason why you're going to want to consolidate those investment accounts is to avoid some estate planning headaches. Now, having just one financial institution where you have your accounts makes it so much easier for your spouse, for your loved ones to deal with your crap when you pass on from this life. Now, I can tell you from experience that if you have like all of your paperwork in 40 different bankers' boxes and you keep everything, that's almost as bad as keeping nothing. It just complicates things, and it's really stressful for your family to be able to sort through all of your estate if things are not organized and as consolidated as possible. It also, when I talked about leaving assets behind, this can also cause you to leave assets behind too. We don't want to add stress to the situation. It's stressful and difficult enough. We don't want to add to it by having a messy financial situation for them to sort through either. All right, hopefully that was valuable for you. If you got some value from this video, please hit that like button and be sure to check out my podcast, The 1 Minute Retirement Tip. It's a short daily podcast where you can get quick little tips to help you on your path to a financially secure retirement. Links for that are in the description below, and I hope you have a blessed day. My name is Ashley Michike, CEO of True North Retirement Advisors, and I will see you next time.